Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a clear and safe empty gun. As you can see there's nothing in here, nothing in the chamber. This is my Trijicon RMR Type 2. I do have a TLR1 HL, so it has the high lumens on there. There's no ammunition anywhere around me. The reason why I'm making this video is because I think that these types of aiming devices, i.e. the red dot, is the wave of the future, but there are some caveats, and we're going to cover that today, so stick around. All right, so first and foremost, this gun is clear, safe, and empty. There is no ammunition anywhere around, and I want to make sure that this gun is safe. And the reason why I'm doing this video is because I was privileged enough to go ahead and take that training where I got my red dot certification, also instructor led, and I was able to go out there and take a look at the different types of red dots that there are and shoot a couple of different red dots. I think red dots is the future. It's not going to go anywhere soon, but I think ideally it's going to be a learning curve. You do not need a red dot on a pistol, especially if you are not someone that knows how to shoot the first time out. I think what you should do is learn from your irons first and then graduate to a red dot. Now, different aspects of aiming. Iron sights are going to be your best bet. It doesn't require any type of electronics. It doesn't require batteries. If it gets dirty, you could just knock it off and go ahead and keep shooting. Night sights, regular sights, it doesn't matter. As long as they're not broken, they will work and get you in the same general area. Let's not forget what this is for. This is a defensive pistol. Pistols are defensive, rifles are offensive. Okay, so this is going to defend your life. Now, clearly, shot placement is important when we're talking about defense. So yes, if I have some type of electronic optic on there, it's going to be a hell of a lot better. I think that, but with that being said, you really need to go to a class and shoot the hell out of your red dot to be very proficient with it. Some of the things that I learned that I wouldn't have if I did not take a class, your body mechanics absolutely falls into place. So your body mechanics have to be the same every single time if you want to quote unquote find that dot. Simple little tips, tricks, techniques. Also, the Glock hand grip. I'm a big Glock shooter. I have a lot of Glocks and I'm very comfortable with it. It is not very conducive to a red dot. Typically your 1911s or straighter grips will allow you to see the dot better. Also, your dot window, the RMR, is probably one of the first and most adopted heavy duty use optics. However, it's a very tiny window, and when you start adding in suppressor height sights so that you can see inside this window, you start beating up the window. You can't really see too much in there. Also, things you're going to have to overcome. Typically, when you're shooting your firearm, you're looking at the front sight and your target's a little bit blurry. Rear sight is going to be blurry as well, and you're trying to focus solely on that front sight. Well, not so with red dots. In red dots, you are target focused. So you're going to have to look at the target and then superimpose that dot on the target. All right, there's no more closing of one eye. So that is a benefit to you, but you still have to learn how to do that. And that's not easy for someone that's been closing one eye for almost all of their lives of shooting. All right, so it's going to be a little bit difficult. Some of the techniques that we have used to quote unquote find the dot was, concentrate on your iron sights. And then as you bring the weapon up, you concentrate on your iron sights and then your dot will automatically appear. That's pretty good. That kind of worked best for me. Also, if you're going to bring your weapon up, another way to do it is to raise this weapon sort of like an escalator. All right, it's going to go up in one direction until you actually see it. Canting the wrist a little bit forward as opposed to just having a straight grip actually helped as well. There's also another method called fishing, whereas you're actually fishing with it. So in other words, when you're casting your weapon out, you're going to cast it front sight and then down, and then your front sight will pop up. Not so much so with the bowling method. All right, the bowling method was something that, again, the fishing and the bowling methods were some things with iron sights where we would never endorse. But now with a red dot, we're kind of endorsing that fishing method where you're actually casting out your weapon so you can see that dot. Also, zeroing was a big thing too. Where should you zero? Should you zero at the 15 and 10 yard line or 7 yards and in? All right, because the FBI says within 7 yards is when most of your shootings happen, or 25 yards. Well, this is like a height over bore kind of subject. So if you're shooting at the 25-yard line and your sights are exactly 0 to 25 yards, which is very typical of any firearm, if you should be able to hit at least 25 yards. That's great. Weapon comes out, you put it in the bullseye. Now, when you move forward, it's going to change. So you have to aim this weapon a little bit up in order to get your sight inside the target zone, all right, or inside the black. So zeroing is something that either yourself or your department needs to remember how you're going to zero this weapon. Is it the 25-yard line? Is it the 15? Is it the 10? Are you splitting hairs? When I pull this weapon out, not only do I got to find it, but I need to know where that red dot's going to be every single time. Also, we did some shooting with where you would tape the front of this. So ideally, the way it's supposed to work is that one eye is supposed to look at the dot and the other eye is supposed to look at your target. And then somehow your brain is supposed to marry it up, and then you're able to shoot center mass with that target. I had a huge problem doing that. I couldn't do it for whatever reason. One eye was more dominant than the other, and then all my rounds were over to the left. They were all on the same line, but they were all the way over to the left, and it wasn't my hands, and I wasn't pulling anything. It was the way my eyeballs were working, or my brain was computing. So I was not able to do that drill at all. Also, one-hand manipulations now are a little bit different because typically you would look for that front sight and then you say, okay, I'm good, I'm going to close one eye. But now if you have one hand or you're shooting with one hand, your dot starts moving. It wasn't really that noticeable with iron sights, even though you were breathing and you were doing that. But that one dot right there was moving and moving and moving and moving. All right, so if you're not a good shooter, you're probably going to see that dot and you're going to freak out. And then at the moment that you want to hit that, again, you're going to squeeze that trigger and it's not going to be good. It's going to be all over the place. Shooting with both eyes open might be something very difficult for you to comprehend. Again, like I said, I've been shooting for over 25 years. So my eye automatically closes one eye as soon as the weapon leaves the holster. All right, you're not looking at the dot anymore. You're looking at the target or target focus, so it makes it very difficult. When it comes to dots, again, window or sizes, that kind of thing, are all going to be different. They have closed emitters, open emitters, which this is. They have small, I think they call them micro dots now. So if you have a smaller handgun than a Glock 17, let's say the 43X or the Sig Sauer P365, they actually come with a smaller dot now that's specifically designed to fit on top of your slide because it is smaller and thinner in size. But also remember that it's a smaller gun, smaller dot, harder to see. Okay. Also, when you zero this weapon, understand that, in my opinion, the way I would zero it is I would take the dot and put it on the top of my front sight post because I figure if your dot goes down, it would be there. Some people don't zero it that way. What they will do is they will zero the dot inside the square or inside the center of the window. I guess the point being that if the dot is a little bit higher, that's fine as long as you're not using your irons and this is up. But again, it alleviates all that busyness in front of your gun. So I got to look for the dot, I got to look for the front sight, and now they're trying to marry up between each other, and it makes it a little bit difficult. Guys that have stigmatisms, all right, I still can't see, even with both eyes open, I can't see clearly what that dot looks like. I still see a little bit of a starburst. I can lower the settings. It doesn't matter. I don't have astigmatism, but I do have aging eyes. So my eyesight is not super clear anymore, and I don't see a nice perfect dot. I just don't see it. I just see like a what would be described as like a snowball, all right, or little squiggly marks. And some people, again, that might bother them. Green dots, I had one with a green dot. I also have the red dot, which is the Trigicon. I also use Halosun. Halosun was good too. I have no problems with the dots. They're all very useful. They work very, very well. But the question is, do you need it? Well, I don't think you need it, to be honest with you. I do think that this is the future, and I do think that if you are going to be shooting firearms in the near future, you're going to have to learn how to use it. All right. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just going to the range and just plinking with this is not enough. You got to know if you're going to carry this with a with the intent to defend yourself or others, you need to use this in a combat setting, i.e., a learned course. Take a course. All right. You should be moving with the dots, walking back and forth, going side to side, one-handed shooting, reloading, all of that. Do it under time, do it under stress. Just plinking with it is not enough. You definitely need to learn how to use these dots. All right, guys, so I hope you appreciate that video. What I need you to do is to like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. I did roll in some film, so if you like that kind of stuff, let me know. Put it in the comments down below. If you are someone that runs a dot, let me know if you have any comments for somebody that might be starting out with red dots, or what the specific red dot you like and how it affected you. Thank you very much, guys, and as always, keep training.
Ready, stand by.